Tola Adeyemi, just 20 years old, lived a life of quiet desperation in the bustling city of Lagos. Barely making ends meet with odd jobs, she often wondered if her life would ever change. When she came across an advertisement seeking a surrogate mother, she hesitated. But the promise of financial freedom for carrying a child seemed like a lifeline. After a brief meeting, Mr. and Mrs. Williams, a wealthy couple, selected Tola as their surrogate. They assured her she'd be well cared for, and she signed the agreement, hoping it would bring her the fresh start she desperately needed. The Williamses were kind, at least at first. They moved Tola into a comfortable apartment, hired a nurse to attend to her, and ensured she had everything she needed. Tola's pregnancy progressed smoothly, and she developed a deep connection with the child growing within her. She reminded herself often that the baby wasn't hers, but something about feeling the tiny kicks in her belly made her heart swell with love. She hoped someday she would marry, have her own children, and keep them as hers. During the pregnancy, she stayed mostly indoors, away from watchful eyes and neighbors' criticism. She was doing it for money, and after delivery, she would get her body back, disassociate from the experience, and move on to better things. As her pregnancy progressed, she was filled with mixed feelings of excitement and sadness. She had bonded with the child, smiling with each baby kick, and now she must let go very soon. When the day finally came, Tola gave birth to a healthy baby boy. She held him briefly before the nurse took him away. A pang of sadness rippled through her, but she reassured herself that this was for the best. The Williamses arrived at the hospital soon after, their excitement palpable, until they saw the baby. Their jaws dropped. "A boy?" Mrs. Williams said, her face falling. She turned to her husband. "This isn't what we wanted." Mr. Williams frowned but remained silent. It was clear he shared his wife's disappointment. "We specifically asked for a girl," Mrs. Williams continued, her voice laced with disdain. "We can't take him." Tola's heart dropped. "But he's your child," she protested, cradling the baby protectively. Mrs. Williams waved her hand dismissively. "Not anymore. You keep him." And with that, they left, signing away their parental rights without a second thought. Tola sat in stunned silence, staring at the tiny boy in her arms. She had taken the surrogacy job to escape poverty, not to become a mother. But as she looked at the child's innocent face, tears streamed down her cheeks. She couldn't abandon him as they had. The nurses watched Tola, obviously shocked as well. Tola didn't have the power to change the baby's gender and shouldn't be treated this way, one of the nurses said, watching Tola as she stared at the baby, her face sad. The nurses asked Tola what she wanted to do and if she could care for the child. They also suggested placing him for adoption as she was too young to raise a child on her own. "You can't do this on your own in this economy," one of the nurses said. "You can hand the baby to us. We will figure something out." Tola thought about the bond she had with the baby while in her womb, the guilt she might have for giving him away, and the possibility the baby might be sold for something sinister. Then she made up her mind to keep him. "We'll find a way," she whispered to the baby quietly as he slept in her arms. "You are mine now, my little miracle and companion, my son." She named him Ayomid, meaning, "My joy has come." The journey ahead was daunting. Tola was far from financially stable, but she was determined to give Ayomide a life full of love. She worked tirelessly, juggling multiple jobs, and leaned on her Yoruba community for support. They embraced her, helping with childcare and offering words of encouragement. Ayumide grew up knowing the warmth of his mother's love, even if they lacked material wealth. Tola instilled in him the values of hard work, kindness, and resilience. Omomi, she would say, you may not have everything, but you have me, and I will always be here for you. One day, when Ayomide was 8, he came home crying. Mama, why don't I have a father like the other children? He asked. Tola knelt before him, wiping his tears. Ayomide, some families are different. Ours is small, but it is full of love, and that is what matters most. As the years passed, Ayomide excelled in school. His intelligence and determination shone brightly, earning him a scholarship to study computer engineering at a prestigious university. Tola's sacrifices had paid off, and she couldn't have been prouder. After graduating with honors, Ayomide secured a coveted position at Zenith Tech, one of Nigeria's leading technology companies. He was unaware that his employers, now elderly and frail, were none other than Mr. and Mrs. Williams. The Williamses, unable to have more children despite numerous attempts, had grown remorseful over the years. They began searching for Tola, hoping to make amends and find the child they had abandoned. Their efforts culminated in a heartfelt plea on national television. We made a terrible mistake, Mrs. Williams said, her voice trembling. If anyone knows Tola Adeyemi, please help us find her. We don't have her picture, but we know her name. Ayomide watched the broadcast in disbelief. He recognized their faces immediately. Anger and confusion churned within him. How could they have abandoned him so easily, only to seek him out now? He stormed into Tola's room that evening, the TV still buzzing in the background. Mama, did you know? He demanded, holding up his phone with the Williamses' image on the screen. Tola sighed, her eyes heavy with pain. Yes, Ayomide. They are your biological parents. And you never told me? His voice cracked. I didn't want their rejection to define you, she said softly. You are my son, Ayomide. That's all that matters. He paced the room, his emotions in turmoil. I want to quit my job. I can't work for them. Tola stood and placed her hands on his shoulders. No, Ayomide. Don't let anger ruin the future you've worked so hard for. Pretend you know nothing. Let them live with their regret. Reluctantly, Ayomide agreed. At work, he maintained his composure, keeping his interactions with the Williamses professional. Over time, he noticed changes in their behavior. They seemed kinder and more respectful toward their employees. It was clear their guilt weighed heavily on them. One evening, Mr. Williams called Ayomide into his office. You remind me of someone, he said, his voice tinged with sadness. A son I once had but foolishly let go. Ayomide's heart ached, but he said nothing. He left the office with a renewed resolve to keep his secret. Years later, after the Williamses passed away, Ayomide discovered they had left him their entire fortune. Initially, he was shocked. He didn't expect they would leave everything to him without their knowledge of his real identity. He was present at their burial and silently gave his last respect, sometimes wishing they knew him as their son before their passing. He honored Tola by using the wealth to establish the Ayomide Foundation, a charity supporting abandoned children and single mothers. Despite his success, he never revealed his connection to the Williamses, keeping their story buried. One rainy evening, as Ayomide and Tola sat together in their modest home, he turned to her. Mama, everything I am is because of you. She smiled, her eyes glistening with tears. And everything I am is because of you, Ayomid. You gave my life purpose. They lived silently, holding firmly onto their secret and reveling in the wealth left behind by the Williamses. The story's moral is clear. Love, not wealth, defines family. Tola's unwavering love and sacrifice shaped Iomide into a man of integrity and compassion, proving that even in the face of abandonment, love can create something extraordinary. Also, this story is a stark reminder that our actions against humanity do come back to haunt us, and when it does, not everyone is willing to forgive easily. And so, dear story lovers, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in our next story world. Bye.